Imagine having god, demon, and legendary beast blood on your body, making you the strongest hero. But you get banished from your village because you tried to save it. You released all your power and ended up ending multiple innocent lives, even your friends. Now in the human world, you suddenly make a pact and get two little demon sisters, one of them being the demon lord, which forces you to protect her because every demon wants to steal her power. Toujou Basara is the youngest genius of the hero clan. His swordsmanship skills and power surpasses by far the strongest heroes. The hero village has always been at war against the demon clan. But for once, they reached a truce. One of the heroes didn't accept peace and decided to put his hands on Brynhildr, a sacred demon weapon. The weapon has spirits sealed inside and they take advantage of the rebel to control his mind. He starts going rampage, slashing through the heroes who try to protect their kids. They're no match for this rampaging assassin. His swing air pressure makes Basara and his best friend fall. Basara steps up to protect her, and when the demon prepares to attack, a massive explosion occurs, destroying most of the village and the heroes, leaving Basara and his friend standing in front of the sacred demon sword. After this tragedy, Basara was supposed to be eliminated, but the village couldn't, as his father, Jin, is the strongest hero of all time. Therefore, the village bans both from hero duty and exiles them. 5 years later, Basara meets his father, who reminds him of his desire to have a sister. Jin tells him he got married and now has 2 sisters. He goes to the bathroom to find a girl who forgot to unlock the door. And a few minutes later, he finds out she's his new sister Mio, and the youngest, Chihaya. Their mother is working abroad and from now on, they will live together. And the next day, Jin departs on a world tour to continue his freelancing job as a photographer, leaving Basara and his new sisters while telling him to protect his new family. He gets back inside, and the lights turn off. He sees Mio and Chihaya in a weird position. Mio tells Basara to leave the house, but Basara doesn't understand. In response, Chihaya blasts Basara against the wall with magic. Chihaya reveals that she's a demon, transforming into a lowly succubus. Furthermore, she informs Basara that gods, heroes, and demons like her exist. She reveals that Mio is the future demon lord, and that Basara is getting kicked out of his own house, as it will become the new demon lord's base of operations in the human world. Chihaya adds that her name isn't Chihaya, but Maria. They also reveal that they were mind-controlling Jin's mind, making everything a lie. And now it's time for Basara to get mind-controlled. Maria casts magic, but it's super ineffective. Basara negates her magic and teleports behind them. Maria attacks him again, but Basara negates her magic for the 2nd time, summoning the sacred demon sword. Basara reveals himself as a hero. To their surprise, they didn't expect they'd run into a hero living far from the village. Basara poses for an attack but stops midway when Maria covers for Mio. Feeling betrayed, Basara tells them to leave the house. He sits on his bed, holding his arm, fighting against the sword brainwashing. For the past years, he's always been blaming himself for wiping the village. He then calls Jin, who informs Basara that he pretended to be under their spell. Jin reveals that Mio is the daughter of the previous demon lord, Wilbert. Thanks to him, both the hero and demon clans are enjoying some sort of peacetime. But demons like war and they went after the demon lord. Wilbert knew this would happen, so he sent his newborn child, Mio, to the human realm. Wilbert died a year ago, and a new demon lord took over his position. But Mio inherited Wilbert's power, and now the new demon lord's forces are after her. He stresses that Mio hasn't awakened her powers yet, and without help, she's going to die like Wilbert. And so Basara races into the night and bikes his way into the mountains, only to see Mio flying. Basara defies the laws of gravity and saves Mio. He notices a shadow attacking them, and uses his power to eradicate it. The sacred sword combined with his abilities enables him to eliminate any kind of magic. They don't understand why he saved them, but he tells them they're going back home because they're family. The next day, Mio enters a master-servant pact with Basara. Maria believes this is necessary because it will help Basara protect Mio. This pact will help him track her location if in danger, and if Mio disobeys Basara, she will become thirsty. And every time that happens, he must relieve her and get stronger. He gets to live the life of your wildest dreams. The next day, the two go to school, and Basara introduces himself as a transfer student. After his introduction, the teacher asks Yuki to help Basara out. She immediately hugs Basara, shocking the entire room. She's the one that Basara saved 5 years ago, and now they're reunited. But Mio can't allow anyone to hog Basara, so she steps in. After clearing some misunderstandings, Basara makes friends with Takagawa. He informs Basara that Mio and Yuki are both princesses of the school. Somehow, he's bagging both, so he's become a natural enemy of guys like you. who can't get a girl. Basara meets Yuki, and she tells him to stay away from Mio. She reveals that Mio is now a priority target for the hero village as an S-class demon. But Basara insists that he wants to protect Mio because unlike him, she faces her past and reality instead of running away. After their meeting, a demon sneaks behind Basara, but Yuki slices it. Mio's presence in the human world attracts lesser and stray demons, which can potentially harm humans. If she becomes a bigger threat, they'll have to eliminate her. Back home, Basara reveals to the two why he met with Yuki, and how Mio is now under the hero clans in the demon's watch list. The next day, Mio starts to think about how close Basara and Yuki are and activates the pact seal, making her fall unconscious. Basara takes her to the infirmary. He gets a drink with Takagawa, but they're immediately attacked by demons. Basara knocks Takagawa out and deals with the demons before rushing to find Mio. He finds her on the rooftop fighting against Yuki, who tried to talk her into leaving Basara alone because he's still suffering from what happened years ago. And he's been inactive for hero duty for the past years, and he's weaker now compared to when he was 10. He stops both, but another threat appears. A masked guy appears and reveals to Mio that Basara and Maria have been fighting demons all day and all night long to prevent her from being targeted by the hero clan as a threat to humanity. Basara tries to shut him up, but he's too strong for him to take on. Suddenly, a demon appears behind Mio and tries to stab her, but Basara uses his own body as a shield to protect her. The masked guy tells Mio that her presence will always hurt those around her. He asks her to make up her mind and vanishes away. Later that night, Basara wakes up, but he immediately gets up to talk to Mio, only to find that she's missing. Mio goes out on her own to confront the masked guy, but in the end, she's weak and surrenders. Yuki goes to help her, but she's easily bested by the masked guy. The masked guy creates a huge magic ball and throws it at Yuki, but Basara arrives and uses his banishing shift to save the day and his girls. The masked guy sends his balls to him so Basara can play with them, but Basara is unscathed. Basara baits the masked guy into choking him. Maria deals the final blow, breaking the masked guy's barrier. Basara makes a chopping board out of him, and he explodes. Everyone celebrates, but a demon appears behind and pierces Basara's stomach. Mio's eyes start to shake. She unleashes her full power, destroying the demon with her voice. Basara tries to stop her, but Mio asks him to kill her before she goes rampage and destroys the world. He refuses several times. She reminds him he's supposed to protect the world. But no, he's not a hero anymore, he's her family, and he will do anything to protect his family, even if it means destroying the whole world. He pulls out his sacred sword and concentrates his full power. He's afraid it can kill Mio, but he must believe he's not the same as he was 5 years ago. This time, he will protect anyone dear to him. He uses his banishing shift and erases Mio's rampaging power, collapsing right after. The next day, Basara interrogates Takagawa because he's the masked guy that attacked them last night. He asks him to team up with him because he can't defeat the current demon lord. Takagawa is an observer for the current demon lord and reports directly to him. Like Yuki, their task is to observe Mio to see if she will threaten either clan. Takagawa agrees with him and decides to lay low for now. Takagawa and Basara get some dinner. After confirming that he's Jin's son, Takagawa reveals that Jin is the greatest hero of all time. Jin's strength forced the demon lord Wilbert to stop his forces from going to war against the hero clan, thus concluding the long-standing battle between gods, demons, and heroes in the Great War. The next day, he and the girls including Yuki are hanging out, but a demon attacks them. The group deals with him until a group of heroes arrives to save them. A discussion begins on how Basara made everyone suffer 5 years ago, without them considering that he's also suffering. The hero group informs Basara that Mio is now a target for elimination and decides to take him in. But first, they'll have to fight in a week's time. The group is now set to fight the hero clan. The hero group comprises Kirumi, Yuki, Takashi, and Shiba, previously Basara's childhood friends. Takashi's parents were part of the people Basara wiped from the face of existence. His deep-rooted hatred for him far exceeds his duties as a hero. With the power of Byakko, another sacred weapon, the hero group forms an impenetrable barrier that will not hurt anyone. Basara takes the initiative and goes after Kirumi, while Maria and Mio fight against Takashi. With Basara's expert swordsmanship and near mastery of the banishing shift, he immediately defeats Kirumi, but Yuki knocks him out, giving him some sleeping incense to take him out for the day. Yuki then betrays the hero group and decides to protect both Mio and Basara. She doesn't want the same thing to repeat. Basara protected them back then, but he was exiled, he's been suffering. but now that she's strong, she will protect him. Mio goes after Basara to ask for his help because right now, Takashi is beating the two girls. Just when Takashi is about to finish Yuki off, Basara arrives and saves her. He then tackles Takashi and forces him into a defensive stance, activating Byaku's passive ability, releasing the sacred guardian beast from its binds. But Basara sends the poor tiger to the Shadow Realm with his banishing rift. Shiba enters the dimension and tells them to stop. He asks Yuki and the rest to come with them to the village as their mission has changed. The next day, Basara sees Maria meeting with Takagawa. He confronts her, but she tells him that Takagawa only gave her directions. A year ago, Mio's foster parents were killed in front of her by Zalja, a high-ranking demon who's after her inherited power. She woke up a few days later with only Maria at her side, and now she wakes up to the reality of Maria betraying her. Apparently, she's working for Zalja all along. Basara meets with Takagawa, who later delivers Basara to Zest, Zalja's demon servant, as a prisoner trade for Mio. He says he was sent by the new demon lord, but Zest kills him. Basara wakes up tied to the bed in one of the rooms inside Zalja's castle. Maria was ordered to seduce and dominate Basara's heart, but Basara easily breaks free of the curse. Basara then uses his sword to banish the camouflage of the castle, revealing his position to Yuki, who is waiting for his signal. After destroying the barrier, Basara tells Maria that he'll save her. Her mother was captured by Zalja, and Maria ended up blackmailed. Maria initially puts resistance but eventually gives in. After dealing with Maria, Basara goes after Mio and Yuki, who are about to become Zalja's new toys. Basara manages to arrive in time to stop him. Zalja uses his demon magic against Basara, but our man breaks free with sheer willpower alone. Basara raises his sword against Zalja, but Zalja keeps beating him no matter what. Zalja uses his primal demon magic, but Basara counters with his banishing shift. However, he takes damage. Basara rushes again and sends a flurry of attacks, injuring the demon marquis. Zalja just force chokes him. Basara waits for the right moment to strike, but Zalja had foreseen this attack and tried to mind break him. Maria betrays Zalja and attacks him, but Zalja is prepared for this. At last, Mio finally sees why Maria betrayed her and Basara. Zalja is keeping Maria's mom captive. Zalja forces Maria to choose between her mom's safety and her friends. But Maria picks her friends, so Zalja pops her mom like a balloon full of tomato ketchup. Seeing another death, Mio transforms into her demon lord mode again. Zalja's real purpose is to trigger Mio's transformation, thinking she's using her father's power. After subduing Mio's power, Zalja goes to take her. But Mio's power isn't Wilbert's, but hers alone. This knowledge costs Zalja an arm and most of his mana reserves. Mio decides to end things and pop Zalja's head, but Basara stops her, telling her that she shouldn't kill someone just because they brutally killed her foster parents. During their heartfelt speech, Zalja escapes, only to find his way into Takagawa's hands. Apparently, the deal that Basara struck with him was to be able to kill him exclusively. Zalja killed Takagawa's foster parents, who, coincidentally, were the ones who took good care of Mio in the human world. Takagawa also saved Maria's mother by using a puppet, faking her death. But Zalja has one more trick up his armless sleeves. The castle he owns is apparently one of the most dangerous demonic creatures, which he turned into his hideout to avoid suspicions from the current demon lord. If this creature isn't killed, it will multiply infinitely, causing irreparable damage to the human realm. And so it's up to Basara and the gang to kill the creature before it kills them and the clueless humans. With his master's real motive revealed, Zest betrays Zalja, who's been abusing her because she envies how Basara treats his girls, and offers to guide them into the monster's core so they can eliminate it once and for all. They descend lower and fight several monsters. After entering a weird room, one of the dolls starts choking her. Apparently, these are Zest's clones. She is a creation of Zalja, and now that her master is gone, she has no purpose in life. After dealing with the clones, they finally enter the core room. Zest sacrifices to draw the core's defensive systems so Basara can eliminate the heart in one blow. With Zest's initiative, Basara kills the core and the monster in one blow, while also saving her with his immense speed. After killing the monster, Basara heads to their agreed location with Takagawa. Zalja tries to bargain for his life, but Takagawa turns his head into a bloody soup. With Zalja's defeat, the growing Toujou family is finally safe.